I love photography. And these days, it's so easy with phones and digital cameras, and you can take as many pictures as you need to, delete as you go. So much better than the old cameras that we used to have with film. But it can be really overwhelming. And a lot of people have trouble figuring out how to organize their photos, how to put their hands on the photos that are the best ones so they can show their friends and family. How do you organize your digital photos? Have you thought about that? Let's talk about that today on Tuesday Tech Training. Hello, and welcome to today's Tuesday Tech Training. I'm Jennifer Stewart, owner of Gateway Productivity. This month, we're focusing on all things digital photos. Today will be about how to organize your digital photos in a broad view. Then the next few weeks will be tips and folders and albums, how to create those, how to organize those, and lastly, backups and what you need to be thinking about there. So today will be an overall view and a process that you can start working on, and then you can come back for additional tips and help with specifics as you're going through your digital photo organizing process. The first step is to get a list of where all of your photos are living. That might be in your phone, it might be in your computer, it might be in a family member's phone. Whatever photos you want to keep track of, make a list so you know where everything is before you start. The second step is to determine where your pictures are going to live. It's best if this can be in one location, but if not, determine what those 2 to 3 locations might be where you need to store photos. And it might be because you don't have space in the primary place you would like. For instance, on your computer, that's what we're looking at here. On a PC, there's the pictures area, but obviously you only have a certain amount of space on your computer. So it makes sense if you need to keep some here, but then some somewhere else. Eventually, it would be nice to get them all in one place, though. So that's something to think about in the midst of this process. So again, determine where your pictures are going to live and have that written down next to where all the pictures are right now so that you know how you're going to funnel your pictures to those new locations or one location where everything will live. The third step is to determine how you will back up your photos. And the best practice here is to keep your photos in 3 distinct places. And that might be on your computer and then 2 cloud options. It might be on an external hard drive and your computer and a cloud option. There's lots of different options here. So let's talk about some overview of a few of those. One of the things you could do is have a backup service. One of those is Carbonite, which you see on the screen right now. Another one is Backblaze, which you see now. And I'll put the websites for all the things I'll talk about today in the notes below the video. Another option for backup is to store your photos in a cloud. And what that means is it's something on the internet that a company runs for you. So some examples might be iCloud, which many of you are probably familiar with if you have Apple products. Then there's Amazon Photos. That could be a possibility for you. If you have a Samsung, you may have a Samsung Cloud. They have that as well. There's also Dropbox. And then there's a company called Forever, which is specifically for photo storage. Any of these are places where you can store your photos, and they essentially are a backup for you. I would also recommend keeping them somewhere else. As we said at the beginning of this, 3 places is the best practice for storing your photos. The final option we'll talk about is physical backups. So these are actual hardware that you will plug into your computer. One of those might be an external hard drive. You can see lots of examples right here, and there's lots of different sizes and all different costs for this. Again, this is a physical backup that you will plug into your machine. Some of these have a built-in program that will automatically do a backup for you, and some of them you'll have to manually do it. So pay attention to that when you're buying a product. Another physical backup option is flash drives, and some people call them thumb drives, some people call them USB drives. They're all the same thing. They're what you're seeing now on the screen. And in this case, most of the time, this will be a manual backup. You'll actually put your pictures on the piece of hardware, and that's how you will store it. There is one that I know about called Picture Keeper, and that one is a flash drive that you plug in and it will automatically pick it up. Like I was talking about with the external hard drive, it has some kind of software built into it, so it will pull pictures and videos for you. Now I'll tell you about a few examples of how I and my clients do our photo organizing. I have one client who chose to do all iCloud. She doesn't have room on her computer, so she decided to keep everything in iCloud. I believe she also has everything on an external hard drive. So she doesn't have the 3 backups, but in her case, she's comfortable with that. She doesn't have a whole lot of photos. As a side note, remember that any of these clouds that you choose, iCloud, Dropbox, any of these, you will probably have to pay to keep your photos there after a while. They are free for usually about 2 gigabytes to 5 gigabytes. With photos, and especially if you have videos, you'll go through that space pretty quickly. Keep an eye on that, and you can choose to have a combination of these things if you don't want to have to pay for a cloud option. Another client of mine stores most of her pictures on her computer, and then she puts the older ones and a copy of some of the newer ones on her external hard drive, and then she has Carbonite backing up her computer. So that's her 3 different locations she's keeping her photos. Another example would be to use your phone for storing photos. I don't recommend this if you take tons and tons of photos because your storage will go down very quickly and it'll make your phone run slower. But in this case, my client has a phone she doesn't take a lot of pictures on, and she has it all backed up to iCloud so that then she can put things on her computer and move them to a flash drive. She doesn't want to take up the room on her computer, so she'll take everything from iCloud, put it on her computer just to move it then to a flash drive. So everything's different and everyone has a different way that they do it. A lot of people ask me how I do my photos. I keep my newest photos on my computer and in Amazon Photos. That way they're accessible on my computer if I need to do something with them, or on my phone through Amazon Photos. And then I can share them with other people on my phone. My oldest photos go on an external hard drive, and those are there. I can always plug it in if I need them, but they're there really for storage and safekeeping. And then my computer is a great place for storing all of the things that I'm using right now. The Amazon Photos is tied to my computer so that they sync back and forth, and all of these cloud services will give you that opportunity if you want to do that. Just remember that if you choose to sync it to your computer, you're using space on your computer and in the cloud. If you choose just to use the cloud, don't download the syncing feature on your computer. A lot of people get overwhelmed and worried about losing their photos with all of this process. And if you're not someone who typically understands how the computer and the internet and all those pieces work very well, do get help. Don't hesitate to ask for some help when you're doing this process. Once you have it set up, you'll get used to it and you won't have to ask for help anymore. But the setup is the most important piece, and making sure that you understand where your photos are living and how it's all working together. Once you have this plan in place where you know where everything is being held and you know how it's being backed up, then have a process as you go through photos, whether that is after an event, spending some time to take those photos off your camera or your phone and put them into your storage place, or maybe it's taking time once a month to check the place where you're storing your photos to make sure that there's plenty of space, clean out anything that you need to, or if at that point you're going to move things to a different location, put that on your calendar, or at least have a process in place and easy to follow for you. Have you had a light bulb moment from this training? If so, please tell me about it in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up or share it with anyone you think could benefit from the information. And be sure to subscribe at the red button below so that you know when new videos come out. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.